I wanted to come on here today and talk a little bit about what I had to do to get off Adderall, and that not everybody will have to go through what I went through. But before we go on, I was wondering if you could please hit that subscribe button. Let's see if this recovering addict can get 1,000 people to follow along. Quickly, I want to just discuss why I think people get addicted to Adderall and why I feel Adderall is so hard to get off of. People take Adderall to be more productive, to excel more in maybe their school or their work. They don't really take it to escape from that. They take it to be more a part of their everyday lives. I personally felt a connection to Adderall that was very freeing. Without Adderall, everything was it didn't flow together easily. So when I started taking Adderall, I was able to focus on physical tasks like I never had been able to do before. I never wanted to not be without that feeling again, especially when I was working. Little did I know that taking something like Adderall doesn't help your body or learn to act how it acts when it's on Adderall. Maybe they did tell me this, like the doctors, but I didn't want to hear it. So I grew dependent on it because I didn't like how I felt when I wasn't on it, which was me, but a little bit less. And let me explain this to you a little bit. So when I started Adderall, I started off as Lauren, this Lauren that I knew for so many years. I think I started Adderall when I was 24. So I've known Lauren for 24 years and I knew how my brain was. And let's say my brain worked at a 70% capacity, right? So then I take Adderall, and Adderall, as prescribed, was giving me 100% capacity. Like I was really feeling a way that I've never felt before. 30% more, that's great. Then over time, let's say I have a bad day or a bad week. My hormones are different. I haven't had the sleep like I did before, and the Adderall really wasn't working like it was working before. So I would go in for a follow-up with my doctor, and they would up my dose. And this would happen a few times. Right? And so then before I knew it, I was like, if he would up my dose so fast, why can't I up my dose too? Maybe just on those days where I'm just not feeling well. And then those days that getting the 100%, then I would, up the dose. And this self-medicating process that I was doing was the beginning of a very big problem. And then before I knew it, I was taking more and more and more. Maybe trying Ritalin one week because the Adderall that I was taking wasn't really working. So let's try Ritalin. And then going back 2 weeks later because the Ritalin was now gone, saying, no, I don't like how this Ritalin is making me feel now. I'd like to go back to Adderall. So I started this battle at this nightmare, not thinking I was starting a nightmare because I just wanted to feel that 100% so that I could get my job done, so I could be the best that I can be, so I could be the Lauren that I knew I really was, the Lauren that is medicated because of her ADD. So then I would run out of it. Instead of having that 70% on the days that I didn't have Adderall, I now had maybe 40% because my brain had been using all the dopamine and the reward systems in a different way. It now has been using it more because it was reacting to this pill, Adderall. And so it's like I was depleted. So now I'm down to like this 40% where I would usually be at this 70%. But at the time, I didn't really see that this was happening. All I felt was, damn, I really need that medication to keep going. This is how I've been thinking without it. I need the medication. It's something that I need in order to be a productive, functional, career adult. And so then over time, I would medicate, and I can never really get back up to that 100% where I was those first few years, because my body is just reacting and responding differently now. And then before I knew it, my body was not doing things. It didn't feel right. The anxiety, the depression, the mood swings, the ups, the downs, the not getting the right sleep, the not eating right because I didn't need to. My body was dependent on Adderall. Adderall makes you feel awake. You don't need a strict diet or to exercise to feel these good feelings, because a lot of people diet and exercise not to lose weight, but to feel good, to feel like how we could feel on Adderall. But of course, not quite that intense, because Adderall is a drug. But people do work out and eat properly so that they feel good, so that they can feel maybe 80%, 90% if they're used to a 70%. So making this decision means quitting Adderall is a very scary thing, very scary. But I promise you, I was not that 30%. That 30% was me in withdrawal. It was me with my brain needing to figure out how to rework itself. It's just like stretching. I don't know if you've ever done yoga, but the first time you do yoga, you're like, how in the hell? I can't even touch my toes. And then after a little while, you stretch, you practice. You could touch your toes, you could touch the floor, but then you stop for a month, and then bam, you can't do it again. The body needs to keep working with itself in order to stay strong, and that's the brain also. Why do I feel like it's a good thing to go to treatment, like an inpatient treatment center? Well, for one thing, you'll be around like-minded people that are going through what you're going through. A lot of times I had to deal with people that say, "What? Just stop. Why is it so hard for you to just stop?" Or, "Why do you have anxiety? You have a beautiful life. Just focus on that. Why?" Or just, I don't know, minimizing how I felt. And so when I went into therapy, when I went into an inpatient treatment center, I was around like-minded people. Was this easy for me to do? No, it was not. Nor did I want to do it. I had to stop my life, no matter how bad it was, and it was bad. I still had to stop my life and go into this treatment center. Like, what? A whole month? Now, as a person in recovery, looking back, like I have written down with my husband, we have both made a vow to each other that if either one of us gets back on drugs, then has to go to treatment, because nobody wants to go to treatment when they are in active addiction. Nobody. I promise you that. The 30 days or however long that you're in there gives your body some time, the brain some time to start feeling better. So maybe you can be at a 50% when you get out of there. And while you're in there, you have people cook for you, a schedule, support, love, all those things that I was lacking. And while I was in inpatient treatment, I had a schedule. They fed me. I was able to talk to a therapist. I was able to talk to a psychiatrist for medications if I needed it. Get off everything. They made you do a drug test. All of these different things. But don't get me wrong. Please don't get this wrong. Treatment centers are not your answer to it all. You still have to get out and do the real work, which is life. Being a recovering addict means I will always be an addict. And it's different. People think that, well, I've been clean for 10 years and so that it's easy. It's still not easy. yes, my brain is back to where it should be at that 70%. And now I know how to work my brain, my body, through diet and through exercise to get it up to maybe 90%, 80%, not all day, every day, but some days. But now I know how to have grace with myself, to work with myself, to be happy and proud of where I'm at, not needing or wanting something to go into my system to make me work at a different rate. However, there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about drugs and being able to, do the things that I used to do. But the desire to do it is just not there. The life I have now will outweigh it every single time. That not everybody is going to have this problem when they take Adderall. I do know people that don't like Adderall. They could take it or leave it. I also know people that have been on Adderall for over 3 years, and they say, I can't understand how this could be a possibility, but they say they could take it or leave it. They've been taking it as prescribed for that many years, and they don't take it when they're on vacations. They don't take it unless they need it during the work week. That's great. I am an all or nothing girl, so I have to stay away from all drugs because I will always want to go back to one certain drug, which is Adderall. And it's crazy to think I found my drug of choice inside of a prescription, inside of a doctor's office, that they gave this to me. And these are the reasons why I make these videos, because it doesn't always come off the streets in a drug dealer. You never know what you're putting into your body. And if you're putting it into your body years and years and years on end, because a doctor has told you is something that you need, before you know it, you could have a monster on your hands. And that monster is called addiction. So that's why I make these videos, because it's not like, we're out partying every night and I'm now an addict. It's something that happened in my real everyday life because I just didn't think I was enough. I didn't think my brain was enough, and I wanted it to be able to do more on a quick fix. Which brings to one last thing that I want to say. The quick fix that you got off of Adderall will never happen getting off of Adderall. It's not going to be a light switch that turns you, oh, I'm good today, I feel better. It's a dimming, brightening. It's a brightener. How about that? You're now dark, right? And slowly it turns higher and higher and higher, and you're going to get back to where you are. I promise you. But doing drugs is not how your body is supposed to respond. It's just not. It's not going to respond the way that it reacts to drugs. And Adderall is a drug. So I hope this helps. I know that I have a subscriber out there that's really struggling right now, and I hope that this helps a little bit. And once again, my name is Lauren. Remember, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, but I've been in this crazy battle. I've been sober now for almost 10 years. It's been 9 years, actually. I like to want to say 10, but it's been 9. Going on 9. Actually, about this time, 9 years ago, is when I was in treatment for the last time. So it's going on 9 years, but I was an active addiction for 10. So about 20 years. And so, I don't know, maybe I know a thing or two about it. But I'm always here to hear more. And one of the things that I'd like to hear is why are you so afraid to quit? This is going to be what my next video is on. Why are you so afraid to walk away from Adderall? I bet you I know why.